Hey guys, what's up? It's What's Up Wednesday. Okay, I'm not going to break out and dance for you guys. But today the topic that I want to discuss is where do I find inspiration? And the first thing I want to talk about is finding inspiration in your studio, in your art space, at your dinner table where you are able to do art, in wherever your art stuff is. My first tip is don't wait for inspiration to get you going. Get in there, and that's when inspiration hits. A lot of times I'm just really not feeling it whenever I walk in the door to go into my room, but I go in there anyway. So I show up even when I'm not feeling inspired. And just like Monday's video, sometimes it's just gluing stuff down on a piece of paper. It doesn't have to be a session where you actually complete something. But a lot of times as I'm looking through my giblets, you know, like I have my little cart sitting here, you know, maybe I'm looking through and I'm really feeling that pattern of the dashes caught my eye, and that can get the creative inspiration going. Looking through your box of paints just to see if anything sparks your creativity. So I would definitely say my first place that I find inspiration at the most is going to be my art supplies. It's anytime that I start to quote unquote clean up, that's when inspiration hits, when I'm digging through stuff and I'm like, oh man, I love that. Oh, I love the energy that this has. Oh, I love the marks. I love the scribbles. Oh, I haven't seen that thing in a while. I forgot I even had it. Is that just me, or are you guilty of that as well, right? And then I did make myself a little note so I don't get completely sidetracked. And number two thing that I have really grown inspiration from is nature. So just getting out, taking a walk, and looking at it from a different perspective. So looking at the trees up like this, and just noticing how they naturally maybe shape of how the negative space is around the leaves or around the branches. Looking at it in a different way versus just like, oh, I'm just strolling around walking the dogs, but really looking at it from a art standpoint. So tilting your head, looking at the pattern, the shape, the colors and how they interact. I told y'all I've been going a little plant crazy, but my philodendron, my heartleaf philodendron plant, it has these really light peachy pink, I don't know what that's called. The part that the stem, that's the word. The pink, like light pinkish colored stems, and then the big green heart-shaped leaf comes out from there. And green is not my usual MO, but I have this plant in my bathroom and I see it all the time, and I kept thinking, wow, this is such an interesting combination of colors with the light peachy pink and the really dark, kind of rich green tone. So I did a page inspired by that color palette that I was seeing. And I'm very intuitive, so I don't show up with any plan. I just knew that that was the colors that I wanted to kind of use. And I didn't paint a flower. I just used that color palette and inspiration to get me going. So that would be the other thing, is look around you in a different way and kind of take that in and use that. The third thing is look at other people's work on Instagram. Look at Pinterest and find when you find somebody's work that you connect with, ask yourself, why are you connecting to that? What do you love about it? Maybe it's the contrast of white and black or dark colors. Maybe it's the grunginess. Maybe it's the raw, strong colors that you see. Just really take a look and say, why am I gravitating to this? What is making me really just stare in interest of what the artist was trying to convey with this piece? So I don't necessarily look at people's work and go like, oh, I'm going to copy that. I look at people's work and go like, wow, I love the bold orange. I love that they just really collaged whatever, you know, whatever it is that really is drawing me to that. I kind of sit there a minute and say, like, why am I liking this? What is bringing me and making me just stop and look? Because it's easy just to scroll Instagram, scroll Pinterest, scroll Facebook, but really just sit with it a minute and try to figure out, why are you being pulled to this piece? What is it? Is it a little bitty section that you're just like, man, I love that? And then take that and use that in your work. If it's, you know, black and white, if it's the tick marks, if it's the scribbles, if it's whatever it is, if it's the color palette, just really know and connect with that, and then go and put it into your work and see where it takes you. 4 is, I don't know if this is weird or not. Have you ever said something you're like, that's so off the wall? But I like going through like clothing stores, or maybe like TJ Maxx or Home Goods or something like that, and looking at patterns. Looking at fashion magazines, even if you can't go into stores these days. But looking and seeing how patterns and how different color patterns and different shapes, maybe shapes that I don't normally really use, maybe like triangles or rectangles. I'm more of a circle kind of girl, but just looking at it with fresh pair of eyes, even taking a picture if you're in the store, and create yourself like a little album on your phone with all the different patterns, colors that you're like, oh, that's why I like Pinterest so much, because you can kind of move them into folders, but you can do that on your phone as well. You can make albums where it's like patterns, and then when you're stuck or you're like, I don't know what to do, reach into that album and go like, oh, well, let me use this. I like this for some reason. Let me try this rectangle. Let me see where that takes me. So I really like patterns and colors, and clothing is a really cool way, because I also incorporate a lot of texture. So I like to look at buckles and how could I transition that into mixed media work. So that's another way that I get inspired. And you know, right now we're in challenging times, so maybe it's not optimal for you to go out into a store, but think about creative ways virtually that you could do that. Pinterest, use the magazines that come to you. I know we're getting, like, who was it that sent me something recently? And I wasn't interested in the product, but what I did was I flipped through it just to see, like, even face shapes, body angles, anything can really just make a spark with me. And I open it to my own interpretation, but just be open to receiving that inspiration whenever it comes, because who knows, you know. And then music. So a thing about me is I do not know artists' names typically. I a lot of times do not know the actual lyrics to the songs, but I do love a good beat and the energy from that. So a lot of times when I'm creating, I will maybe have my canvas and and then I'll just kind of dance around. And if you recently saw my Instagram, Josh and I really love to dance. That's where we actually our first date, we were dancing. And so we will just like randomly bust out and dance every once in a while. But when I'm here in my studio and it's, you know, I have my speaker going, I use that music and the energy of that rhythm to either go slow with the paintbrush or fast. So I would say, like, use the inspiration and the energy of the beat of music. And occasionally, like, I will hear a lyric, like a part of a lyric that will kind of go, like, get me thinking and kind of get that creative juice going. But inspiration is all around us. Be open to receiving it. And then implement it. Show up. That is the biggest thing, is do not wait for inspiration to hit you before you go into your space, okay? Go into your space and start that energy and that action and that flow of gluing or painting or sketching or whatever it is that you do, textile or stitching, and then just let it go with the flow. So if you, a lot of times if you've ever taken one of my workshops, I often talk about just noticing your tension in your body. And I know that sounds kind of strange, but I notice when I'm doing an in-person workshop, people will be like, you know, like moving their hands very, like, oh gosh, I don't want to mess up. And I'm like, baby, just let loose. Like, just slap it around. Get the paint on your hands and just move it. What's the worst that's going to happen? You can cover it up with something else. But, like, just get that energy and that flow within your body. And it really helps me to be able to get free. If I feel really tense for my day job and I've had a stressful day, just like get in there, do you some stretches, get your music going, and just let it all happen. So hopefully this has given you some ideas and kind of how to channel your inspiration. But I'm going to say it one more time. Do not wait for inspiration to show up. Show up and it will find you working. Okay? So I love y'all. I hope you have a beautiful and pleasant week. Thank you so much for joining me on this What's Up Wednesday. And hey guys, if you haven't subscribed, I am trying to hit a goal of 20,000 subscribers by my birthday. We have until May the 21st. So if you know a friend, a family member, somebody who would like a little Southern gal in their life, go ahead and let them know about my channel. And I appreciate each and every one of you. Love you. Till next time.